afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Web3 Lounge. We hope you're enjoying your time here at Advertising Week. We're excited to have you. Just a couple of brief housekeeping announcements before we get started with our latest session. Wanted to just give a big shout out to all of our sponsors: Midnight Oil, Passage Labs, Ethos Spatial, Solana Foundation, Gen City Labs, and NICAP 3D, who is up next with a delightful panel that I think you're really going to enjoy. As you're walking around today, NICAP has generously brought their capture cage here today. So if you haven't had a chance, it's free. Just take a couple minutes, go in and digitize yourself for the metaverse. It's a free 3D image that you'll get via email later this week. So we encourage you to do that if you haven't had an opportunity to do so. Also, we've got some hot pink sunglasses in the back if you're feeling the Barbie vibe today and you'd like to wear some pink. And we have a couple of QR codes you can scan. One is for a free D2 NFT. That'll get you discounts on events that we'll be hosting next year in the Web3 space for Fortune 1000 companies and brands. And we also invite you to follow us on LinkedIn. We've got a QR code on the back of our sign over here that you can scan to follow us on LinkedIn. So we encourage you to do that. And with that, I'd like to introduce our panelists. We have Racquel Douglas from Snapchat here today. So come on up, Racquel. We also have David Morris and Shxpir from NICAP 3D, and they're going to start us off talking a lot about what they're doing digitally to bring AR and VR to brands and the metaverse. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They've also got a video that they're going to play here towards the beginning of their talk that is going to show you a little bit about some of the cool things that they're able to do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David, and please help me give them a warm welcome.
How's everyone doing today? Good, good. So I have two amazing panelists, and we have a real treat for you guys. First, I just want to kind of gauge the room, get a show of hands. Is there anyone in here who use celebrity talent, brand ambassadors, influencers to promote their brand or business? Anybody? Raise their hand. Okay, so a good amount of you guys. Is there anyone here that utilizes augmented reality or virtual reality in their brand campaigns currently? And last question, is there anyone in here who is looking to add augmented reality, virtual reality, or any extended reality to their brand? No? Okay, well, hopefully we can change that after. So like I said, we have a treat. I have two very, very, very highly esteemed panelists here. First, we have Racquel Douglas from Snapchat. Racquel is an absolute trailblazer in the sports and entertainment industry, and she is just, just a beast at working with your favorite campaigns, ideating and producing them. Next, we have the creative genius Shxpir. Shxpir is an absolute creative genius. He is a creative director as well. He produces your favorite advertising and retail campaigns. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of jump right on in here. So, Racquel, first question for you. You have an impeccable track record and reputation within the sports and entertainment industry, and currently we're seeing a dynamic collision of technology, media, and retail, which is enabling new media formats, giving us all the power to dramatically enhance our storytelling capabilities. As an expert in talent and brand activation, how are you seeing the overlap of tech, media, and retail convergence play out in your day-to-day at Snapchat?
Thank you for that intro. I think on my day-to-day at Snap, that comes to life in AR, which is augmented reality. When you're talking specifically about AR at Snap, the view is very much that we use technology to actually enhance the world we're in instead of the idea of essentially leaving and going to another world. So when it comes to retail or brands or talent and creativity, I think you're talking about something like a shoe launch in your living room, right? I was able to see LaMelo Ball launch the Melo Ball 1 with Puma, and you can just actually take your phone, point it to your foot, and actually bring that to life. So I think that's the future of retail. It's just real immersive experiences and brand extension.
Great answer. And following up from an advisor perspective, what specific trends do you foresee in augmented reality adoption amongst athletes and sports brands?
For trends, I'll say my favorite thing I see. My favorite thing I see right now is the ability to train. I'm really interested in the psychology of like consumer behavior and what makes a competitor win. So I think the ability to be at home and visualize winning the Super Bowl over and over and over and over again is probably my favorite thing that's coming trending-wise. So I think the extension of that, and then also giving the average fan the opportunity to also feel what that looks like. Right now, everyone's talking about Brady mode. And I just think like that would be kind of cool to see what would that drive would look like. So that's my favorite part of the trend.
I love that you mentioned training because utilizing it for things like that is just really really great.
Yeah, and I have to get a shout out to one of my grip friends. They have a company called Status Pro,
Okay.
and they actually are able to train football players on this technology using AR. And I just think there's such a future for that for everyone. So I can't wait to see like all the cool things that come from that.
Very very interesting. Shakespeare, for you, just as cash is king, storytelling is everything. You are an elite storyteller and you work with top tier talent from actors, artists, athletes, influencers, etc. From a creative perspective, what's your outlook on the future of storytelling and how do you introduce new technology to talent that are unfamiliar with virtual content creation?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Shxpir. It's a weird name, I know.
The best
I'm the
name.
creative director for Nightcap and Fake Art. So basically, I want to like quickly just go through what we do. I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people are very confused about what we do. So we have two companies, but like function as like a whole. So Nightcap basically just making all the 3D assets. That's why we have all different kind of 3D scanner, which we have a body scanner here. Like if anyone interested turning themselves into a 3D avatar after this panel, you can try it. And then besides the 3D avatar, we also convert any sort of object in this reality world, like the real world, into the virtual world in the future, even now as well. So any sort of product, any sort of even like from like a car to a shoe to a bag, we can also just scan it and then turning them into the 3D asset. That's what Nightcap do. And then fake art is the post-production department, which we can turn all these 3D assets and the 3D avatar into like a usable campaign for different kind of platform, like in the virtual space or just for current social media as well. That's why we're working with a lot of musicians and celebrities turn themselves into this 3D avatar, and then for different kind of it's kind of like a new trend. I wouldn't say it's a trend. I think it's just a new technology. Right now, we're just a little bit at the very beginning of it. But like I think in the future, the digital likeness will be a big thing for everyone. Especially, I just think from the beginning, it's gonna be start with celebrity and the people who are well known. So their digital likeness will be more valuable at the moment. But of course, in the future, everyone will have some sort of space for their own digital likeness to be used, like even just like for like FaceTime with your friends, in the future with all these like headset coming out, you can just see your friend's avatar in front of you. So there will be like a different space kind of used. So yeah, I think
And what's the process of creating the 3D avatar? Like we see the scanner. How do you necessarily go about it? You mentioned post production. Can you elaborate on that?
yes. So hello.
And real quick, Shakespeare, if we can, there is a video we would like to show you guys. So while he's talking, you guys can get a little bit of a visual. If we can cue that up, that'd be great. And Shakespeare, you can go ahead.
Okay, so for the 3D scan, we have the scanner here. It's one of our scan. We have a studio in Brooklyn. If anyone based in New York and willing to come to the studio, have a visit, just let us know. This is scan contain like 100 around 150 cameras, and you basically we just take photo from all angle like 360 of a human or object, and then we use we processed into a 3D object or the 3D avatar. After that, I think that it depends what kind of how you want to use it, because on different platform or different for video game and CGI video or movie, TV show VFX. We also work with Hollywood studio quite a bit for VFX. So all these like different use, we actually have different format of the file. So that just have all different kind of pipeline. But for our agency, most of our digital avatar right now is still, we use it for music video, music visualization, or just for retail space, we do visualization for our fashion clients, and we have events. Also, we have some sort of AR, VR platform. We can also use these assets as well.
That's a lot. Everybody get that? Well, right now, everyone is very quick to want to utilize AR and VR and various other immersive technologies. However, the hard truth is that quality experiences come with a lot of growing pains and a hefty financial commitment. Raquel, how do you necessarily work with that, balancing that with athletes?
I think athletes, creators, entertainers, it's all the same, but it all starts with a good idea. I think a lot of times people take technology and they try to do these big complex ideas, but when you have a good idea and you use data to support what you're doing, truly technology becomes the enabler. So I think having a good idea and then taking your thoughts over to Shxpir is where you're really going to get somewhere. But as far as budgeting goes, you'd be shocked how many people are good at things. Now that you can learn everything on YouTube, while you may
Great point.
not get the A quality of fake art that, I mean, visually it's impressive, but you can do so many things like create a lens so simple by just going online and finding these people to build these lenses. So I think the best thing is just to start with a really good idea, have your data to back it so your idea makes sense, and then reach out.
I like that. I like that. So, kind of following up on that question, Shakespeare, what are some common, some challenges or common misconceptions about augmented reality and virtual reality technology that you frequently encounter from both the talent and the brand side? And how do you necessarily communicate or address those misconceptions to the talent or the stakeholders involved in the project or campaign?
I think right now, because we are in a space also like a beginning of something new, so I think a lot of people are very confused about all different things. I think in the future, it's just a matter of the time. All these things will combine to one. Because right now we have AR, we have VR, we have mix R, we have AI. Like, I think people that outside the space usually just get confused. Also like Web3, NFT, like blockchain, all these. But I think it's all these words, once it actually reached to a, like a day-to-day kind of market, I don't think we should really separate them. I think it just merged together, like this just new technology, which it just means we are also marketing in a digital space. Instead of just like a reality space like we live in right now, like the AR, VR, they just create more layers to the world we live in. So I think right now we just had to we had to like get used to it, like from little things like a filter. Like Snap actually have the best filter function. By the way, I had to mention that because they have the best word tracking. Also, we use them a lot because they also you can do more animation, like more creative with Snapchat because they just have the best, the system which we love. But I think all these like in the future to the normal people it doesn't really matter. It's just another layer of the real world. So I think right now like when it comes to the challenging part, yes, a lot of people they just confuse. They were just like, oh, this is AI. Or it's like this is not AI. This is AR. Like you had to explain quite a bit. But I think it doesn't really matter. It's just a learning process. Also, when people get used to see this another layer coming out of the real world, which they know this is not the real world. This is just another layer, another more information, more space, more environment. Just add on to your real world. I think once people get that idea, I think everything just work together as a whole. So I think for the people in the marketing or creative space, we just had to start to think the physical world is just one layer. How do we add more layer onto it? Even for like a retail space, how do we bring like a digital influencer or digital celebrity into the space? Because once the celebrity have their digital avatars, they can actually represent them in a different space or for AR or VR use, like in the virtual space. How do you like, for example, how do you train with the like a famous player, right? Or how do you see, for example, like when you go to a store or retail store, how you probably can see you can shop with your favorite fashion influencer, like they can give you advice, or you can try on, like once you have your own digital avatar, you can try on the clothes before you go to the store. You can know, oh, this is how this clothes will look on me. I think we are just very beginning of something, but like once we understand, okay, we just need to start to add more layers to this word. How can we show more information? Of course, I think right now also for AR or VR, I think very important. I always constantly think about it. I think it's for disabled people. For example, like we can have the AR filter just to translate languages, or like people who can't hear, like they can actually have the subtitle on the VR filter or the headset. I think for these use will be really useful at very beginning already. Like these, I think for disabled people, it's actually a very advanced thing to do so. I think the marketing people, we can already start to think about it, because they are in their own world. That how do we merge them into our world? I think the AR and the VR is very useful for those people who has some sort of disadvantage than us.
Absolutely, very strong for the emotional connection and creating that real intimate connection with the brand. Racquel, question for you. How can talent managers and agencies leverage AR, VR, and other Web3 tech to enhance the visibility and marketability of their clients? And what advice do you have for talent managers seeking to align their clients with brands that prioritize immersive marketing technology?
That was a big question. What advice would I give? I think the first thing is just to always remember content is king. So never forget that the more content you have, the more relevant you're always going to be. So whether that's in the metaverse, on Snap, that means you're taking behind the scene content. But I think that's the first thing, is just always just produce something and don't overthink it. But then there's these really cool things now where you can talk about your skins and your streetwear, and your sneakers can be in video games, and they can be on billboards, and people can be in the metaverse wearing your shoes and your shirt. So I think it's just being able to say, hey, I have a product. How far and how wide can I take this product and cast like a really large net to do so? So I would definitely recommend content for sure. Create a product, get a lawyer.
Very critical.
Get a lawyer. Make sure that you own all these products, especially in the digital space. I know right now in reality, for talent and athletes and entertainers, it's really easy to own. It's easier to own your IP, but the more we get into the space, you don't want to end up losing your streetwear because you put it in a video game and you didn't notice that you didn't have the rights. And I think I've seen that a lot with influencers. They may have done a reel for a brand and they didn't realize the reel had lifetime content use for that brand, and then they lost out on this reel and this money that they could have been residuals bringing in for the rest of the year. So I think just making sure you're properly protected for all entertainers in the space. I know that you just did something with Lil Nas and Coach. Am I right? Okay, yeah. And I thought that was really cool because he's like in this live billboard. However, it's like if he was wearing maybe my streetwear brand, right, in that space, just making sure you're protected. Because if not, you end up with the Madden effect with LeBron, who had his tattoos in a video game, and it went on, and the tattoo artist was selling that. So it's just another layer of where are your tattoos, where are your shoes, who owns your socks. So just paying attention and definitely having legal person protect you and copyright everything.
Right.
Please follow up with that super critical answer. I love that. Please follow up.
Love that. Yes. So that's why we also have a new business. It's called Shxpir. Like if you're interested about like how to protect your digital likeness and how to managing them, and maybe like utilize in some way in the future, you can also just talk to us afterwards. Because today we probably not gonna go too deep into it. But I think basically this platform just help you to protect your digital likeness once you work with us. But right now, like we probably do more with celebrity and people well known. But like right now, soon we'll be like using it for normal people. But that's definitely the a very good advice.
Thank you for that. Everyone take notes of that. Great, great point, Raquel. Great point. So with that being said, in my personal opinion, 2024 is the year of the digital avatar, and many brands talk a big game about creating personalized experiences. However, I don't think it gets any more personal than having your own photorealistic avatar. My question to you guys is, what are the benefits of having your own custom avatar, and what can you do with it, especially as an everyday consumer?
Honestly, like I think now everything is so new. We're not sure how this world will go, like where we're gonna go. But I actually keep telling people I think having my digital avatar that I scan myself now, I think at least if anything happened to me tomorrow, if I die, like I keep telling my mom, I was like, you will still have a digital avatar, you know? I have a lot of like voice messages with my mom. Like I told her, like I can train that into, you know, like my language model that will somewhat still talk like me, like act like me. But just remember, I think that might be the future. I think because once you die, right? Who's I think for example me, if I die, I don't feel it, I don't know because I already like in another world, I don't know where I will be, but it's the people who live still live in the world that will feel sad, you know, like they will still miss you. But I think have some sort of like representation of you in the digital world isn't is a good it's a good thing. That's why I'm already planning my, you know, metaverse funeral. You know, I think if I die,
He's
I
early
want
with
my
it.
friend to come to my, you know, like digital funeral and still see me, you know, like and still dance with me, whatever. I don't want you to be sad. I think in the future, that might be the way. That's just your representation live in the digital world. You know, so I think just do it sooner than later because now you're still young. You want to look young. You know, you don't want to look. You know, let me think about it. Maybe after five years. No, you know, you'll get more wrinkle. I just want to do it now. You know, I might have to like work out a little bit more to get my abs back. You know, that's just how I think. But you know, I think that's one thing to think about. How it's just think about like right now, like okay, like if you miss someone that already gone, you have a photo of them, but in the future, I think everyone will be digitalized in a way. You know, it's not real us, but it's somewhat like you can still see them, or you can still, it's a good memory. You can still talk to them in some way. I think, especially when all these chat GPT, everything like language model become more normal and regularized, of course, I think we can probably start to train your own language model. Like, for example, like for me, I can just train a language model just kind of like will talk like me, or a voice training system as well. I think everything might be just happening in 10 years. You never know. But me, I'm just getting ready, you know?
He said, "My metaverse funeral." Let
Yeah,
that
right?
sink in, guys. Raquel, please follow up.
I'm gonna be honest, I never thought about my metaverse funeral, but I'm glad that I thought about today. And I'll add that into the list of my things for my living will, so thank you. But why you need an avatar? It's a hard act to follow. But I think brand extension. Ultimately, I think, of course, one of the things is when you are gone. So you have, Michael Jackson, Prince. Like, what if we still had them today and we had their avatars and it already had 10 years worth of AI learning into how they acted and how they dance? That would be an asset that their actual estate can still monetize. Now, the estate is only able to monetize images or music and things like that. So it's just giving yourself or giving this icon the time for AI to really learn it. And then secondly, brand extensions. So someone like Stephen Curry or, I don't know, Travis Scott, they can't be in the same place at once. They can't reach all their fans, right? So he can possibly be here. He can be, interacting with you maybe in some sort of glasses and AR glasses and, helping you get your shot right. But it allows you to be in multiple places at once. And I think we've all wished that I wish I could be in two places at once. And some of the busiest people in the world, I think now they really are going to be able to be in more than one place. So I think ultimately it's just brand extension and longevity, especially after death.
I want to add a little bit because you asked me about normal people, why normal people need an avatar. But when it comes to celebrities or musicians, we're actually managing some musicians' avatars so they can perform in a virtual concert. They can also do like a digitalized music video or music visualization, and like you said, it's a brand extension as well. So if they are on tour and some brand they decide, okay, like we still want to work with you for some sort of content, you can use the digital avatar to do so, which we already tried it. And like exactly for AR, I think also you can have some sort of digital avatar that represent you that your fans can use and take selfie with you. I think it's just very fun to play with, and I think it's good for the Gen Z because everyone's so used to the cell phone and all these like AR VR. I think right now at our age, like people might get scared a little bit, but I think in the future, like people grow up with a phone or grow up with a video game, they just like fully embrace, the digital self.
And why do you think people are scared? Why do you think what causes that fear right now?
Because I don't know. Because even just today, like I said, would you want to get your scan? And a lot of people tell like, oh, that's scary. I was like, well, okay, that's what people say when they invented camera 100 years ago. That the camera gonna take your soul. I mean, but I think like people don't know better. They are scared. But like once like it's instead just one camera, we take 150 cameras. It's not a big difference. You just take your soul like 150 times. It's the same thing.
I love that, and I just think about the travel budget that can be cut. No more having to take the private jet to get all the way there for all these celebrities. It's so many ways to for an efficient marketing spend there. So, last question for you are Shxpir. I want to start with you. What does a successful immersive ad campaign look like in 2024? From the creative perspective, and then Racquel, you can follow up from a talent management perspective.
I think this campaign idea, like, okay, just my personal opinion, I think photo is not efficient anymore. Especially like nobody really looking at photos anymore. Especially Gen Z, like or younger generation, they have very short patience. If you can't catch them like in few seconds, they just gonna like keep scrolling. Also, they don't read magazine. Like it's a new way for the marketing. So I think you just had to keep trying new things that they are interested. Which I think this digital era is coming, and they are fully embrace it because they right now like Y2K trend is coming back. It's all about the digital, which is just more like old school digital, which I think for the Gen Z, you just had to keep making like sort of like a video gaming or like a VR AR trend that catch their attention, or you had to think about more space. You had to like maybe just make your content or your the brand ambassador appear in a different way. Either it's like a video character or like a 3D billboard, actual like like all these different space and different way. That's how I see it.
Racquel, what about you?
My favorite thing is what you do, the fake art. The digital billboards that they create are just like appealing to the eye. I've never seen anything like that. So if I were to advise a music artist or a football player or basketball player, I would say get one of those ASAP and be the first to do it and
First
really,
mover advantage.
make your mark in that space. I think if you take advantage of the areas that are open right now, you'll be successful. I think influencer marketing has really cast a really wide net. So it's kind of like we're being marketed all the time. So now it's time to get marketed to in the digital AR world. So I would say make sure you have a really solid campaign, especially around what you're doing, for sure. So yeah.
Love that.
I
Like,
want to add one little thing. I'm so sorry, like,
no,
because we
please.
keep talking about the software part. I think nowadays, even the hardware, we're coming into a new era. Like, we are working with this company called Looking Glass today. So we represent our 3D avatar in the 3D screen. So it's actually a 3D screen. You don't need any glass or hardware. You can just see the 3D avatar or like the any object on the flat screen, but it's as 3D experience. So I think for the content, you can even think about in the physical space, how do I place 3D or avatar in the space for retail or, you know, events.
I have a question. Is there any way me as a regular person who does not have access to the scan in the future, like, am I going to be able to make my scans at home so I could try on maybe that outfit at Nordstrom's or something?
I think in the future, it's definitely a big trend that everyone will have to somewhat scan themselves. But right now, I think the more accurate way is still the scanner because
Quality.
yeah, human is something that you keep moving. You know, like the scanner, you just had to like require like different photo or video from the different angles, so the computer generate a likeness of you. But right now, but I think in the future, there's already some technology are already at the testing stage. I think soon it will be that way. Maybe you just, take a quick video of your face, and then the computer can generate your likeness.
Like I said, I hope you guys took notes. Please feel free to connect with them after. They shared some very, very, very great insight today, especially if you're trying to create any type of immersive campaign or use any type of augmented reality, virtual reality, or extended reality component. So thank you guys for your time, and we had a really great, great chat, and we look forward to meeting all you guys soon.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Racquel.
Do y'all
Come to my funeral.
I'll be there.